The afternoon sun burned against the steel walls of the Weldon factory, its glare harsh, almost cruel, reflecting off the cold metal like a silent witness to the pain below. A small doll lay broken on the ground, its tiny arm torn off, its face covered in dust. Next to it, a young woman struggled to rise, her lip bleeding, her cheeks swollen, her blonde hair tangled from the scuffle. And beside her stood a little girl, barely 6, clutching the broken doll to her chest as though it were life itself. Tears welled in her eyes, big, trembling, innocent eyes, as she stared down the road where a group of men had just fled, laughing. If you believe in standing up for what's right, in protecting those who can't defend themselves, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to HOA Chronicles, where we keep real, heart-touching stories alive. Her name was Clara, a young widow who carried the weight of the world on her thin shoulders. Every morning she woke before dawn to work double shifts at Weldon Auto Components, trying to keep food on the table for her little girl, Hazel. Clara never complained, even when her hands ached or her paychecks fell short. Every morning, she tied Hazel's hair with yellow ribbons and whispered, "Someday things will get better." Hazel always believed her, because when you're 6, your mother's promises are the only truth you know. But that afternoon, something broke, not just the doll, but something inside both of them. Clara had discovered that the factory manager had been stealing from her pay, underpaying her for months. When she gathered the courage to confront him, the men laughed. When she begged, one shoved her hard against the wall. And when little Hazel ran in screaming, "Stop hurting my mommy," one of the men snatched her doll, tore its arm clean off, and tossed it into the dirt. Then they walked away, leaving a bruised mother and her crying child in the silence that followed cruelty. Clara knelt down, trying to steady her voice through tears. "It's okay, baby. Mommy's fine," she whispered, though her lip quivered with pain. Hazel didn't answer. She just held the broken doll tightly, her tiny shoulders shaking. And that's when it happened. A low rumble echoed through the street, faint at first, then louder, deeper, the unmistakable growl of motorcycle engines. Hazel turned toward the sound. 5 Harley-Davidsons rolled into view, chrome gleaming under the afternoon sun. Their vests bore the red-winged skull insignia of the Hells Angels. The leader cut his engine first. He was older, rugged, with streaks of gray in his beard and tattoos curling down both arms like living stories. His vest read RL Chills. He stepped off the bike slowly. The street seemed to hold its breath. He didn't need to ask what happened. It was written in the dirt. The broken toy, the bruise on Clara's face, the fear in a child's eyes. He lowered himself to one knee, meeting Hazel's gaze. His voice was deep but gentle, roughened by years yet softened by empathy. He didn't even need words, just a quiet look that asked, "Who did this?" Hazel lifted a trembling finger and pointed toward the factory gates. The other bikers exchanged silent glances, the kind of look men share when justice is no longer up for debate. The leader stood. His shadow fell across the ground like a promise. He gave one firm nod. Then 5 engines roared to life, a thunderstorm of chrome and fury rolling straight toward the factory. "Wait, please don't," Clara cried out, but it was too late. They were already gone. Moments later, the factory workers stopped what they were doing as the bikers pulled in, engines rumbling like angry lions. The manager tried to put on his smirk again, but it vanished the second he met the leader's eyes. No one knows exactly what words were exchanged that afternoon. Some say the shouting echoed down the whole street. Others say it turned to silence faster than anyone expected, the kind of silence that settles only after something ends. When the bikers finally rolled back out, their engines hummed low and calm. The men who had hurt Clara didn't laugh again that day. Hazel stood holding her mother's hand as the motorcycles came to a stop in front of them. The leader reached into his vest and pulled out a brand new doll, clean, soft, its blue dress fluttering in the breeze. He handed it to Hazel. She looked up, tears still wet on her cheeks, and managed a tiny smile. Then he pulled an envelope from his wallet, thick with bills, and pressed it gently into Clara's hand. She shook her head, whispering, "I can't take this." He simply replied with a slow shake of his own head, a silent way of saying, You've been through enough." He turned to leave, but paused, glancing down at Hazel one last time. She hugged the doll close, whispering a soft "thank you." And with that, the engines thundered once more, carrying 5 men away, men the world called dangerous, but who had just proven what real strength looks like. The next morning, the factory gates were locked shut. Word spread fast. Management had suddenly resigned. Clara never saw those men again. And for the first time in years, she walked home with her head held high, her daughter skipping beside her, yellow ribbons dancing in the wind. The sun caught the shine of Hazel's new doll, a small reflection of something that had been quietly restored that day. Not just a toy, but faith. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to HOA Chronicles, where every story reminds us that compassion can come from the most unexpected places. Before you go, tell us in the comments, would you have done what the bikers did? Because sometimes heroes don't wear capes, they wear leather and ride toward the storm.